What's up, guys? Only 90s kids will remember this noise. And only true 90s kids will remember one of these. Whoa! And only the real true 90s kids will remember this!
Morning. President Bush announcing that the Allied military operation to liberate Kuwait has begun. These are the headlines at 7 a.m. today, Thursday the 17th of January. During the night, hundreds of American and British aircraft have mounted attacks on targets in Iraq.
Here, mind nostalgia. There was a time where lots of games were actively trying to appeal to people's sense of nostalgia. Whether the game was a remake of a fairly recent hit, or just the copying of old retro pixel graphics, getting people's attention with the things they remember fondly was working a treat for a while there. And look, I don't want to come across as a dick about it. On many occasions it was done to great effect. Shovel Knight is an absolute treasure, for example. It does a great job of mixing the sights and sounds and style of Mega Man era platformers, giving you a fresh taste of the feel of those games, without the frustrations and technical limitations of the time.
Anyway, that well is bone dry at this point. Someone very well may come along and reinvigorate the whole thing, but I'm not holding my breath. That's why Kingsway, made by Andrew Morrish and published by Adult Swim Games, comes along and takes nostalgia from a very different source and uses it to make a very, very good game.
What is Kingsway then? Well, it's a roguelike. Look, I don't tend to get on with roguelikes in general, so I'm not really sure where this falls in the granular defining of these things. What I know about roguelikes is they tend to be punishingly hard and designed to almost always be unbeatable, relying on good luck and random generation than with an increase in skill over time or the improvement of a player character. But right, back to Kingsway and the question of what it is. It's a fantasy adventure and dungeon crawler where you have to save the kingdom from the Sky Eater, a cosmic force that threatens to destroy the land over the next few days. Only, instead of completely destroying the world, it instead resets it, which is a lore-based way of saying every time you die, the game regenerates itself procedurally, meaning you get a different world to explore every time you die. Now, due to the wonders of the visual medium, whilst I've been talking shite, you've been looking at the lovely visuals of the game. Kingsway presents itself as an operating system, and the game takes place in a series of windows that you can move around and interact with exactly how you'd expect to in any operating system. Enemies appear randomly as a window that moves on its own accord, and can create new windows with attacks to dodge, or can make important windows disappear with their attacks, or even minimise themselves to make it harder for you to attack them whilst they do a number on you. The music in the game is its own application that you have to keep open to listen to, and the quests come in the form of emails, including this obvious spam email that involves a great little side quest.
Kingsway is a very clever game. It doesn't just use Windows as a game as a way to tingle memories in the back of your head and make you feel good about days gone by. What it does is it reinvigorates a game that you would have played on that system. It takes old dungeon crawler style games and rips them out of the application and puts them on the desktop of the PC you would have played them on. I was worried at first that this would be a bit gimmicky and get old pretty fast, but I'm very glad to say it doesn't.
The best thing about these procedurally generated roguelike games are the stories they create for you. As an example, speak to anyone that's ever played Minecraft and I bet they remember their first night in Minecraft really vividly. And whilst a lot of those stories are essentially the same, you noticed some monsters, you dug underground, you hid, you were frightened by the noises just outside and then waited for sunrise. Everyone's is unique and everyone's is special. Kingsway has that. I picked up this really good sword from a boss fight and was one level short of being able to use it. After staying the night at an inn, I got an email from someone saying they had lost a family ring, an heirloom, and they really wanted it back. They didn't know where it was, but I had a feeling it could be close. Sensing the opportunity to both level up and do a good deed, I figured I'd head for the nearest dungeon and try my luck there. Avoiding traps and fighting the odd monster, I delved into the dungeon, desperately looking for the ring. I was getting scratched up, but not majorly. Eventually I made it to this altar. It offered to give me a stat point for half of my current health points, and seeing as how the whole trip was based on me trying to level up my stats, I thought, yeah, fuck it. This was a mistake. See, I didn't really have the means to heal back up, and now I was deep in a dungeon, and then I faced this prick. So I have this skill called Leech, which heals me a little while doing damage, but it drains my magic to use it, so I have to take a potion during the fight to try and maximise my use of it. Now, take a look at this screen. I've got error messages, attacks to avoid, magic to use, and I need to use my attacks as quickly as possible. This is where Kingsway is at its hectic, manic best, when you're pushing yourself just a little harder than you need to right now for the potential reward that could come from it. Anyway, this bastard fucking skeleton gets the better of me with a perfectly placed fireball, and now I'm really fucked. I have to run, like, now. In fact, I need to head to safety or else I'm cooked, and this game has permadeath, so we really don't want that. So after having to escape another skeleton mage, but not before he gives me a good boot with his bony foot for good measure, I use an escape crystal to get me to the surface. Now I have to get home without dying. I can't fight anything, I just have to fuck! Ah, come on! Ah, fuck! Fuck! Oh, shit! Ah, shit, I've got a smoke bomb, yes! Brilliant, right, magic! Now, if I can just get... Ah, fuck! Fuck off! I've only got 4 health, there's 6 left! Ah, come on in! Ah, I made it. I made it. Oh, fucking hell. Fucking hell!
Kingsway is magic. The push-pull of having permadeath looming over you but also being chased across the continent by the Sky Eater makes you play a little cautious and nervous at first, but then you realise you have to occasionally be brave and take a risk, and that's good. When you die in Kingsway, first of all, it's really cool. Secondly though, the level you got up to with that run is converted into gems, and you can use these gems at the start of the next run through to buy new starting equipment and improve that, or buy new cursors or colour schemes or fonts. I mean, cool stuff and just fun little extras that you can do. Hell, you can even buy shortcuts for the keyboard. What this means is death is not absolute, which is good, because you're not constantly starting from scratch, you are incrementally getting better and better every time, and that means that you actually sometimes stand a chance, rather than just beating your head against a wall. The game does have the odd dull, procedurally generated stuff in it where you'll meet a stranger a lot of the time and they'll tell you the same rumours or give you the same advice every time, and that's a bit dull, but it does have lots of tricks too, little extra niggles and things that change from run to run that makes you feel good and exciting.
You said exciting instead of excited, you daft bastard.
Kingsway evokes that feeling of sitting in front of a massive CRT monitor and cracked yellow plastic, towers and keyboards and stuff like that, and it makes you feel good about that, but then the game is so good that as you start to remember that using computers at that time was shit, it doesn't really matter, because Kingsway is such a good fun game that you don't even really care. I give Kingsway 5 floppy disks out of 5. Why do we have this in the office? Why is this here? It's 2017, for fuck's sake! Hey guys! Hey! Guess what? No.